Hello, right. This morning I just want to do a quick butchery recap on chicken for you. All right, I've got here a £2.5 chicken. This one I got at Morrison's. They've got a good offer on the chickens at the moment. Actually, it's 3 for £9. So get yourselves along there. Get yourselves a few chickens and have practice at home. No reason why not. All right. Now the first thing we want to do, obviously, is look at the quality points of the chicken. When you're buying it from a store, something that you won't, well, something that you tend not to get when you're buying it from a supplier in catering is it will be packaged separately. Here's one which is not out of the packet. Now if I put that forward there, you've got all sorts of information on the label. All right, you've got a weight £2.5 chicken there. You've got a use by date. You've got the price bracket, the weight bracket that these chickens fall in. If you can imagine this supermarket, when they're doing this, they won't individually weigh the chicken. They'll fall it into a weight bracket, and then these will get packaged and priced accordingly. All right. This one here is, there's a cooking instruction on there. This one cooks in 1 hour and 27 minutes. All right, I'm imagining on the back, you'll also have further cooking instructions on here. So this will tell you, whilst that says 1 hour 27, that is going to be dependent upon the temperature that this goes in the oven. But as a guide, that's there. Serves 3 to 4 people, so a little bit more information on there. And then across here at the bottom, I'll just smooth that label out a little bit. You've got the nutritional information as well. So if you can remember when we've looked at this in the assignments, okay, you've got your fat, your saturated fat, your sugars and your salts on there. I'll see if I can pull that up a little bit closer, and that should come into focus. Okay, no, it's not going to. But you get these on all food products, okay? And this is no different. It might be raw, and yes, we're going to do a bit of preparation to this. And it's also very versatile. You can use chicken in lots and lots of things. So taking that out of the package, okay, obviously there's your first quality point, needs to be in date. Taking it out of the package, smell it. There shouldn't be any smell to it. It should be fresh, okay? Look at it. Needs to be nice. Breasts, remember what we're looking for here. Alright, there's a clue. We're looking for a little bit of springiness in that flesh. It's not damaged. Check my wing tips. All correct. Alright. Checking my legs. There's no bruising on there. It's been butchered partly. Alright. This is already tied for us, but because we're going to butcher it, I'm going to take that off. If you can recall why we tie things, why we tie joints of meat, okay? I'm not going to tell you, I want you to recap that. What I'm going to do at the end of this session is you're going to have a sheet to work on. And part of that, I want you to recall to me why we tie joints of meat, why we tie poultry. Okay, there are reasons, and I want you to tell me. Getting back to this anyway, so we're looking for the quality points. I'm quite happy with this bird, so I'm going to go on now, and I'm going to get this butchered. Okay, first things we're going to do, if you can recall, let me go back 2 seconds. I'm going to supreme this chicken. If you recall, there's another way that we can do it, and that is a cut for saute, where we get 8 servable pieces from there. This one, I'm going to supreme it. So I'm going to remove the breasts, and I'm going to remove the legs as a leg. I'm not going to dissect the drumstick and the thigh. I'm going to keep those as a whole. They're another way that we can kind of use these for roasting. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to remove my wingtips. So I'm going to cut through the bone. If you can see that on this one, there's my wingtip. My knife is going through there. I'm going to remove those. What kind of knife is that, guys? If you can please tell me that one as well. Okay, then I'm going to go in through the neck. I'm going to remove the wishbone. Tip of the knife. Scrape it down. Don't know if you can hear that on the video, but when I can feel that on the knife and you can hear that on the knife, take the knife out with your fingertips, get in there. You're effectively cleaning that bone with the tips of your fingers. It's snapped, so I must make sure that I get it all out, and it's snapped from the top. So there's one part. With my fingers again, I'm going to go in this side, clean that bone off. You can use the tip of your knife to go in there and clean it out. Personally I find if you can't do it with your fingers, that's the best way, because the bone comes out nice and clean with very little meat stuck to it. Nearly got this out now. Another clean one. If I put those together, I know I've got the whole wishbone out there with very little meat on there. Put that straight in my waste bowl, not going to use that. So that's out. I'm going to push that skin back into that joint, because when I cut this, I want a reasonable amount of skin left here on the breast, and I also want some skin left on the leg. I'm just going to cut through the flesh there, if you can see that, through that flesh, cut it round, then I'm going to pop the thigh out. Now watch this on here, watch this bit of muscle here. That there, if I can turn this, yeah, that's the oyster, okay? Very nice piece of meat. Sometimes gets forgotten about as you cut the leg off. We don't want to cut it straight through like that. So I'm going to lie this on its side so you guys can see this, and I'm going to cut around that oyster. Then the knife goes straight back. The oyster there has been retained on the leg. Exactly the same with the other side. Get that skin down there. Knife through. I'll pop that out again. You can see the oyster there. I'm going to cut around it. There's my leg. There's my oyster there, that piece of meat there. So that's two lovely supremes. Now when you're looking at this, a quality point when you are prepping your chicken, both of these legs come in like that. There's a semicircle. Like I said, I haven't just cut it straight up there. I've gone in and around. Okay, so I've taken as much meat as I can out of there. That's left me with my crown. I could roast that as it is. A lot of people actually get, if this was a turkey, that's what you would get at Christmas. Alright, obviously this is a much smaller bit of poultry, and I'm going to remove these breasts. I'm going to retain the wing bone, so as I cut this off through here, I'm going to keep this on. So I need to be careful when I'm coming down the side that I don't cut that bone off. So, different knife, filleting knife here, nice and flexible, because I want to scrape this knife down the bone. Okay, so I'm going to take it straight down the middle, and this will fall down one side of that breastbone naturally. Tip of the knife, going to take strokes from the front to the back, and then your knife will naturally go through the chicken. You've got this white fat line here. You take that off like that. Minimal amount of meat left on that carcass. And you're going to turn your knife around and you're going to follow that rib cage down. That joint there is the wing bone. I'm going to put my knife through there. Little hint, as you're doing this, keep the wing bone in with your breast. If it's just left lying there like that, the temptation to cut through there, and you can see where that'll fall, you lose a lot of meat on there. So keep your wing bone in with the breast. You can see the joint, knife straight through that joint. There is your full supreme, complete with skin on, covering the entire supreme. That's fairly clean. If I'm looking at that, if I'm being critical of my own butchery here, I've got a little flap of chicken here which should have gone on this supreme. But I'm not going to waste that, because when I do this supreme, I'll make sure that this bit of meat here comes with this. So I will have no wastage. But I'm going to do exactly the same with this side. So that goes down the other side of that centre bone. Tip of the knife again, and I'm just rubbing it along the carcass. Taking it down nice and gently, no massive slashes or anything like that. When you're doing slashes, you tend to be leaving a lot of chicken on the carcass, and I don't want that. Okay, there should be minimal amount on here. Again, I've got the wing bone, it's underneath my hand here, because I want that to come off with this supreme. There's my joint. I'm going to go straight through that joint, cut through. I'm going to put a nice supreme with plenty of skin coverage on there. Like that. One carcass. Very little meat left on that carcass. Okay, in fact, if I can show you my carcass and the contents of my waste bowl, you can see that very little is left. If I was going to French trim these, I would have removed the top end of the knuckle, and I would have removed the top end of the meat from here as well, so I was left with a nice clean bone. Okay, this can be done at this point, but it is a lot easier to do this when it's still attached to the chicken, because then you've got that gravity effect where you've got the chicken pulling against the knife, and you can clean that bone up lovely. Little bit of a pad on there to take that chicken meat off, and that will leave you with a French trim bone. And likewise, if you can recall when we did this last time, again, attached to the chicken would be the best point to do this, because you get that gravity, but it can be done. And then you can just pop that knuckle off. I'll just leave that one on there actually. It's been cut down a little bit too far, so I'll just leave that one on there. Okay, the knuckles, the bits of skin like this can all go in to make a nice stock. You don't want any fat in there. So if you've got any excess fat, just trim it off. It's not so much of a problem with chicken. If you were using another kind of poultry, for example, a duck, that has a higher fat content to it, you'd remove that. The chicken's not too bad. All that can go in, make a lovely stock with that. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave you with that. Have a think about what we've got from there. We've got wingtips, we've got legs, we've got chicken supremes from that, and we've got a suitable amount of chicken that we can make a stock with. Alright, I'm going to clean down, and I will see you in a couple of minutes with a different kitchen. Thank you.